Hi there. We're on day 96 of our Through the New Testament in 1 Year. Today we are doing just 17 verses, the first half of Luke chapter 9. And it'll be a short read today. Jesus chose all his apostles well into his ministry. And Jesus sends out the 12 apostles. And he called the 12 together and gave them power and authority over all demons and to cure diseases. And he sent them out to proclaim the kingdom of God and to heal. And he said to them, take nothing for your journey, no staff, no bag, nor bread, nor money, and do not have 2 tunics. And whatever house you enter, stay there, and from there depart. And whenever they do not receive you, when you have left that town, shake off the dust from your feet as a testimony against them. And they departed and went through the villages, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. They're pretty excited when they got back, too. Right? Herod is perplexed by Jesus. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard about all that was happening, and he was perplexed because it was said by some that John had been raised from the dead, by some that Elijah had appeared, and by others that one of the prophets of old had risen. Herod said, John I beheaded, but who is this about whom I hear such things? And he sought to see him. Okay, Jesus feeds the 5,000. On their return, the apostles told him what they had done, and he took them and withdrew to a town called Bethsaida. When the crowds learned it, they followed him. And he welcomed them and spoke to them in the kingdom of God and cured those who had need of healing. Now the day began to wear away, and the 12 came to him and said, send the crowd away to go into the surrounding villages and countryside to find lodging and get provisions. For we are here in a desolate place. But he said to them, you give them something to eat, right? They said, we have no more than 5 loaves and 2 fish, unless we are to go and buy food for all these people. For there were about 5,000 men, right, plus their wives and children. So you're probably looking at 10 to 15,000 people. And he said to his disciples, have them sit down in groups of about 50 each. And they did so. And he had them all sit down. And taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and said a blessing over them. Then he broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples and set them before the crowd. And they all ate and were satisfied. And what was left over was picked up, 12 baskets of broken pieces, right? And they never said, can you imagine how long it took him to break bread and keep filling up like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 baskets, keep breaking the bread, right? It's taking a long time, right? It doesn't say that kind of thing. But yeah, to feed like 10,000 people, it's a long time. And then they picked up the leftovers. Probably gave them to the poor, right? Oh, hang on. That's it. That's just, 3 minutes. But that's what's going on today. Tomorrow we will mark this complete. And we will read the rest of it, right? Peter confessed that Jesus is the Christ. I think Peter was his favorite, right? Foretells his death, take up your cross. The transfiguration, that's a good one. We'll go into that in a little depth too. So there you have it. And that's day 96. Easy read, huh? Just a few minutes. Catch up on any you may have missed. They're all short studies because we're just doing the New Testament in a whole year, and they stretch it way out to be covered in a year. So they're very short studies. And later on, when we get into some of the epistles and stuff, we'll tear them apart and take a little more time. But Ministry of Jesus, we'll go through it 4 times, 4 different people, right? So there you have it. Give us a like if you think about it. And tomorrow we'll continue. See you.